Charles Birdwatcher.
My mom said that when you're not alone, you're not afraid of anything. I had always been a coward. I couldn't even sleep with light being switched off. That's why on my first birthday, she presented me a teddy bear, brave Mr. Joy. With it, I wasn't too afraid. And then one day, my mom and father died in car accident, and I left alone. But anyway, when I held Bear in my hands, I felt my mother being with me, taking care of me. And everything certainly would have been all right until the day I lost my bear. It happened 12 years ago. The sister of my father became my foster mother, terrible and grumpy. She used to frighten me with insane birdman who lived on the roof. Every night he was watching for naughty 6-year-old girls in order to fleece them in his awful hideout. And for sure, I believed
Monologues
in this.
taking forever.
And he's under the blanket with my teddy bear and hoped that Birdman would never seize me. But I couldn't even imagine that exactly him I was going to meet, and what's interesting, under my own volition.
Give me a second. Thanks for the tea fuel.
Someone held pigeons on the opposite roof and let them out several times a day. There were a lot of birds. They were gorgeous, but one day nobody
Can't
left
skip
them
this.
there. Almost day passed, but birds were locked. I remember I was too afraid that they might have died. Maybe the birdman did anything bad with them. So I decided to release them. There were no photos in the house, but there was a time when they hung all over the place. And adored soap operas and comic shows where people loudly laughed at unfunny performances. I wasn't allowed to enter some rooms in the house. They had always, those horrible hours had always made me frightened. I don't remember why.
In the kitchen, I had his red dog bowl with one
Dog
monologue.
bowl had always been empty.
The left walking
I was
into the kitchen is
prohibited
another.
and liked coffee with cigarettes very much. But I have to hand it to her for not smoking while I was with her.
Across, missing posters on the wall, walk closer for a monologue.
There were announcements everywhere about the lost boy, like Tommy. Then I approached the opposite house. I realized that it's not easy to reach the roof. Front door was locked, so need to find back door. I noticed strange hills in Mini Park.
To the left is a
I
back
decided
door.
not to come closer to that. Back door was also locked.
Note by the
But I
garbage
noticed
can.
wet letter on the ground near trash can. Come over from one roof to another. This seemed to me an excellent idea. The door of nearby house was opened. Apparently someone had just driven in new apartment.
Just go upstairs.
While I was going upstairs, I was trying to listen to the house. It lived its own life. There were voices behind each door. Someone swore, someone laughed. Someone made up with somebody. Someone cried, but behind each door, I heard family, which I'd never have. I have already started forgetting how side view from the roof was really amazing, but unfortunately I couldn't came to the edge of the roof. I had always been afraid of height.
Parkour. No steps, a folding board.
There was a gap in front of me. Suddenly, my idea appeared me as terrible mistake, but I couldn't turn back. Now I needed to decide how to reach the other side. Flat looked horrible. It hadn't been tidied up here for a long time.
Straight down the hall to the last door.
Scaling to a necessary roof, I understood that someone lived here and the walls were covered with swelling. obviously by local hooligans. I hope that they did nothing bad to pigeons.
Walk around the fencing to conclude the story.
He was there, lying in his pigeonry stone, dead. And all that I could do was to turn away. And I occasionally dropped my teddy bear. When I came back to Aunt, she was waiting for me in my room, being very angry. I was so happy that she took my story seriously and called the police. After that case, 12 years ago, I received the parcel. When I opened it, I couldn't remain standing. There was my brave Mr. Joy on the bottom of the box. It held note in his pose, with shirt and succinct thanks.
It popped up.